What's up? How you doing? Here we are. Beautiful day today. I can't tell you how good the weather is right now. Right now, 75 degrees, 21% humidity. Feels beautiful. You know what it feels like? To me, it feels like when I was in the third grade and it was like first week of June and school was starting to wind down and you were outside in the playground and you had this feeling of well-being inside because the weather was so nice. That's what it feels like today. So, have a glass of ice and some lemonade. Paul Newman lemonade. I'm a big fan of Paul Newman, but good products. Good products. Everything he puts out. Tomato sauce, lemonade. He's got a bunch of things. So we're gonna have some today. Remember in the old days you would open up from the front and it would make like a funnel looking thing. Then they invented this big invention. Whoever came up with that went up to the boss, said, I got an idea. Let's keep the bottle, the container looking the same, but let's add this feature here. That way you pour it. You don't need to have it look like this, then you can change the whole thing. Is this just for nostalgic people? I don't know. You don't need, matter of fact, you can make it a little bit pointier on top and have the thing up here. Kind of like this concept, right? But I guess they already thought of that and they said, no, we're gonna do it different. We're gonna put it here. So, anyway, Paul Newman's own old-fashioned roadside lemonade. Oh yeah. Especially on a good, nice, hot day, hits the spot like Kool-Aid. This is even better. Let it cool for a little bit there. Yeah, I remember being a kid and you would always have the entrepreneur kid in the neighborhood who would set up his own little area there and start selling this stuff. But to make a profit, you probably have to sell each thing for like $5 for it to be worth something. I mean, Starbucks sells coffee for $5, even more. So let's give it a try. That has a good aroma, good, nice, appealing. Wow. This, if you see it, pick it up. This is good stuff. Good stuff, delicious. Wow, I could drink that all day long, lemonade. Oh, I hear my... So, yeah, I remember being a kid and running around like a maniac all day playing, you know, and then back then the big thing was the hose, garden hose. You let it run. Now I would never drink out of it if it was just sitting there, you know, like warm water inside and then no. I would let it run for like a minute, get all that flushed out, and then I would, but usually, you know, most of the time when I would have a sip of water, it was out of the actual pipe that came out of the house. You know, I had a friend a couple of doors up from me, and the side of his house, they didn't have a hose on that, but they had a little faucet there, and I would turn it on, let it get nice and cold, and then I would drink like, you know, I don't know, quarter gallon. I remember when I had fallen off my bike and I cut my chin, I had to get stitches way back. I think I was second grader. And they stitched me up. And then I went to the mirror and I looked, and it looked like I was growing whiskers on my beard. I mean, on my chin. And then I remember playing over that kid's house. His name was Paul. And I was playing over Paul's house. And then I went to get water, and drinking the water, the cold water was running down my whiskers over here. And I could feel a sensation. And then when they removed them, I have yet to fall on that same spot again. Just that one time. Now, had I not fallen that time off my bike and landed like I skidded on the sidewalk with my chin, I never would have gotten stitches there. This is amazing. You know those summer days when it's really, really hot out and you finally sit down somewhere, like maybe under a canopy or whatever, and it feels like rain is coming. You know, that refreshing feeling in the atmosphere? And then out of nowhere, these clouds, these dark clouds appear, and then lightning and thunder and all that, and it starts pouring. We don't get much lightning here. Thunder, both. We don't get much. Every once in a blue moon, you know, you'll get that, but it's not a common occurrence. Doesn't happen that often. So today we're gonna cook scallops or scallops. Have my my pan here. I have olive oil. I have lemon, organic lemons. Smells good. I have clam juice, which I will put a little bit in there for flavor. I have a little bit of rosemary, fresh rosemary. And today we are going to use German butter. This is butter made in Germany. It's a German product. So I put garlic, which I've mentioned, I think, in here with the butter and the olive oil, and then I'll add the scallops. The other day I had a dream, the other night, 2 nights ago, not last night, the night before. I don't know if I mentioned it on another previous video, but I was sleeping, and this was early because I got kind of woke up from it, and it was still kind of like maybe I'd say about 30 minutes after I went to bed. Immediately I had a nightmare. I was in the subway system. I think I might have mentioned it. I'll mention it again though. So I was in the subway system, and supposedly in the dream the trains were not running that day. It was just me, and I was walking on the third rail, balancing, because I've done that before. In 1987, I was at a place where they were building an entire train system, and they had laid down the tracks, and I walked several miles on these tracks. But then I said, hey, you know what, the third rail is off, let me walk on that. I'll never be able to do that again. So I got on the third rail and I started walking on it. And imagine if somebody said, hey, we're testing the third rail today, and they said, okay, flip the switch, and then I was on it. I don't know, you know, yeah, I did mention this because I said that, you know, the electricity does not go through you, or it goes through you but doesn't come out of you when you're not grounded. Like, in other words, if I was grabbing onto the iron fence and my legs were on the third rail, then I think I would get shocked and possibly suffer a heart attack. But I think if you're walking on it and somebody flips a switch, I don't think you'll notice it much. Maybe you get a little tingling sensation in the hair. So I did that. But anyway, in my dream, the tunnel is just big enough for the train to fit. There are no safety areas, you know. Some old subway systems, they have those, reminds me of Superman. Remember that scene in Superman? I don't know if it was 1 or 2, where Gene Hackman, and funny I should mention him today for what's on the news about him right now. But anyway, Lex Luthor had some kind of secret office in the subway system, and one of those carve-out things in the concrete would open up like a door, and you can go in there, and he had a whole room, and it was like an office. Anyway, somebody was following him, and then that thing, he saw somebody going through there, so he went there, and a train was coming, and that thing pushed out and pushed him onto the tracks. Well, in my dream, the tunnel is perfect but only big enough for the train to fit, nothing else. And there's no openings anywhere, even on the deck there, the train station. You can't go underneath and hide and let the train go by. So I could hear the train coming. I go, there's not supposed to be any trains here, and I could hear it coming, and I'm running, and I can't get on the platform. I don't know, somehow I don't have the strength to pull my body up, but I wake up before anything happens, and you know, what would have happened? I don't know. Gotten squashed like a grape. So anyway, I woke up, and when I woke up, I go, I only went to bed a half hour ago, so it was not like it happened like at, you know, 4 a.m. or something. I want to write him a letter. I want to tell him this is really good. I've never been disappointed by Paul Newman products. Never. You know, anything I get that has the Paul Newman face always turns out to be good. Ah, man. Anyway, okay. So we're going to add butter first. Let's cut the garlic first. I'm not going to cut these. I'm going to leave them with the peel on, because I just want the flavor. I don't want to burn it. I just use one. It's a good size. So we're going to put a little bit of butter. From Germany. German butter. Turn this on. Looks big enough. We adjust as we go. Yeah. You don't want to put too much. You know, I learned a lesson. You do things twice, you learn a lesson. Once the mistake, and then once the correct way. Hopefully you learn from the first time. Sometimes it takes many times. But anyway, one time I was like, yeah, I want to put extra butter, you know, get it to go higher up than a certain level, and then that way it'll cook faster. And I found when you do that, it kind of boils it instead of fries it. So I did not appreciate it. So we add the garlic in there. That's good butter, you can smell. It's got a good aroma, good butter aroma. Better than the butter they use in the movie theater. You know what? I refuse to put that butter on there. I don't know what that is. It comes out like castor oil. Like I'm doing an oil change or something. I do not appreciate that oil. Or butter, whatever that. I don't think it's butter. I think it's some kind of mixture of something. And then we're going to put some rosemary in here for added flavor. You know, a little bit. Now, just a hint of olive oil, a little bit here, a little bit there. So the scallops, and these things, you don't cook them that long. You don't cook them that long because they turn into rubber for the bottom of your shoes if you cook them too long. I want to finish that in no time. Probably within an hour that's going to be gone and in the garbage. Mix it around a bit. And the clam juice I put at the end, I put a little bit, let it evaporate. Alright, that's enough of the rosemary. I don't want too much. I don't want to have overwhelming rosemary flavor. When I say rosemary, it reminds me of the operator at the Hong Kong Fui Police Department there. Hell of a street fight, that Hong Kong Fui. Henry. I'm telling you, today is beautiful. The weather has a lot to do with your psychological health. Right now, you just feel a sense of happiness. I mean, I'm not like, you know, I won the lottery, but just the sense of like, you know, you feel good inside, and it's because of the weather. I don't have anything, you know, it's not like I want a blanket at bingo, but I feel, you know. Anyway, we put them in. Oh yeah, perfect temperature. Gotta watch out, you fry your finger. That smells great. So what do we have there? That delicious smell. Delicious. Give it a little whirl. One time Halloween when I was a kid, many years ago. It's a long time ago. I was friends with this old dude. He was a World War II veteran, and I'd bump into him occasionally and, you know, chit chat. Well, that Halloween, I went and I got, you know, one of those transparent masks, like the kind they use at bank robberies. I put that on. I went in my basement. I got like old clothes. And I dressed up like, I don't know what, but I pretended to be a guy that cleans windows. Had the hat on, I had a jacket, and I had a container of Prestone antifreeze, which I was saying that it's, you know, washing fluid for the windows. So I went to his house, rang the doorbell, he opened me up. This was Halloween day. And immediately I went in. You know, I didn't wait for him to say, who are you? You know, he opened up the door, I went in, and I was in his living room area there. I was talking to him, and he was a little bit scared, but, you know, whatever. And then I didn't want to push it too much. I didn't want to get him like where he was, you know, getting skid marks in his underwear. So I ended the thing. I said, okay, and I left. Well, I left and I went to my house, and I thought it was a funny thing. but he came to my house looking for me to tell me what had happened to him. And as I'm up in my room, I can hear him coming over, and I'm trying to, change real fast so he doesn't see it's me, and he comes straight to my room. Door was open downstairs, came straight to my room. But by the time he opened up my door, all right, I had changed, and I was sitting at my desk pretending I was at the desk just reading or something, and he comes and explains the story and exaggerates it, added stuff to it, made the guy much bigger than me, made the guy run up the street because he chased him off. He said I got angry with him, and he saw I was getting angry. He goes and he ran up the street, he pointed to the opposite direction that I really went. And then he told me how he spoke to him. He spoke to him very sternly, but in reality, none of that happened. He didn't speak to him sternly. He was all afraid. It was me, but he was all afraid. He was talking like, in a way that wouldn't upset me. He didn't know it was me. So anyway, I said, oh, did he leave? He goes, yeah, he left. He went up that way. I'm flipping him over now. And I said, okay. So then he leaves. He goes into his place. And about I don't know, 15 minutes go by, and for some reason I look out the front window and I see the police department was downstairs with a van talking to him. He was explaining, he's pointing, he's probably saying he went up that way. He was doing the height thing. And at that moment, yeah, these are good. Delicious. Wow. I'll take a picture of this. It's pretty good. So at that moment, my father came home from work, and my father saw what was going on, so he walks over, and I see my father, he's listening, and the old guy, he's explaining everything, got the hands going, and then my father leaves, and a few minutes later, he's up, in our house, and I come in the kitchen. He goes, police are downstairs. He goes, you have something to do with that? And I go, why do I have something to do with that? What's going on? And he goes, I don't know, I was listening to the story and it sounded like something you would do. And I said, oh, it does? I said, all right, well, I don't know what the story is, but anyway, later on I did say, yeah, that was me. But immediately they jumped to the conclusion, you are guilty before you're innocent. And then they work their way backwards if you happen to be innocent. Or sometimes they don't even bother with that. But yeah, immediately he looks at me and he goes, you have something to do with that? And the police are downstairs. I hear the story. I go, oh, what's the story? And he goes, I don't know, it sounds like something you would do. So I don't know. Like I said, very long time ago. Alright, I'm going to get a plate and then I'm going to take them out and eat them. That's what I'm going to do. I'll be right back in a flash. All right, the one thing I did not do, which not a big deal, I'll do it next time, was the clam juice. But that's okay. That's okay. That's an extra thing. So I got some beer. This one is Beta Moretti. Beta Moretti. Established 1859. Premium lager. 4.6% alcohol, and product of Italy. It says Beta Moretti, the Italian passion for brewing. Made in Italy. So we got the scallops, salt, pepper, lemon, butter, olive oil, and a little bit of beer. Drink responsibly. Don't get in your car like a Momo driving around when you're lit. You will hug a tree or a pole or fall off one of those cliffs like the movies, or you'll take somebody out with you. This stuff is only good in moderation. Anything beyond that, you're wasting your time and you're ruining your life, right? All right, see how this is. That's got a good smell, rich, nice. This is the way you want a lager to smell, exactly like this. Now let's see how the taste is. Good. Delicious. Now let's see the scallops. Delicious. That's very good. Very tender. It's not rubbery. Good flavor. The cat is back. Put a little bit of food there, you know. Joins me with a meal. Together we have a meal. Can't believe it. Really good. I'm eating it like this. I don't want anything. I don't want bread. I want just scallops. I had it in the freezer for 38 minutes, so it's colder than normal, which the way I like it. Yeah, very fresh, very appealing to the taste buds. You know, I know these are like shellfish or something, you know, you get them in the shells, but I've never in real life, when I've gone fishing, ever have found scallops at the beach. I find clams, even oysters. I know there are places where I grew up that people would go and get oysters. I don't really trust, I don't know where they get them, where you eat them at a restaurant, but I don't know. To me, oysters I like. I eat them at a restaurant, but I have this thing in my head that if I get them from somewhere, it'll be contaminated. I don't want to risk, you know, getting sick from oysters. They don't cook those, they're raw. And this beer goes well. Premium lager, 11.2 ounces. Authentica, is that what it says? Best before 2026. Plenty of time. Yeah, not bad. Love scallops. Like, you know, a lot of tasty stuff comes out of the ocean. I've never had starfish, and I've never had a seahorse, so I don't know what those go for. I don't know what they taste like. I don't know. And that's green pepper. More flavor. You know, black is good, but this one has a richer flavor. Last piece. See, even here it tells you consumption of alcoholic beverages impairs your ability to drive a car. People don't know that. I'm telling you, this stuff is best enjoyed in small amounts in your house, or if you're staying at a hotel. That's it. If you're going somewhere, you have to minimize it. You know, like you're gonna have dinner, you have one or two of these. If you're there for an hour and a half, 2 hours, you know, with your meal. But, you know, for every one of these you have, depending on your weight, so based on a person that's 150 pounds, one of these takes 1 hour to get out of your system. Now, one is, you know, it's only 4.6% alcohol. So you're not going to, you know, feel much of anything. But if you have a bunch of these, it's going to affect your balance. So, yeah, me, I don't operate anything. Plus, I don't have a bunch of anything. I just, you know, have a small amount. But I like to be in safe environments. I don't want to be operating a bulldozer or a backhoe or anything like that, you know. I just want to, you know, have a beer or two and relax with my meal, and not all the time. Not all the time, you know. It's like on occasion. So, but there are people out there. I had friends like that. They were like, couldn't stop. and they would say to me, I don't understand, how somebody could have like two and stop. Like, I don't know. That's how they would do it at the boar's nest. So very slight, bitter aftertaste. Very, very slight. It's not anything, heavy, but there is a little bit of a little bit of bitterness at the end as you swallow. You can taste a little bitterness back right here. When I have a nice cold beer, especially when it's in this kind of a bottle, reminds me of Shawshank Redemption. That scene where they're doing the roof there, they're tarring the roof at the prison, and then they get rewarded with cold beers, and they're all kicking back. Morgan Freeman is on that scene. I'm a huge fan of his. Mainly big truck. Oh, that's that was, you can't see it, but I'm going to tell you, that was the In-N-Out truck, the catering one, the one that goes to like businesses. If you have a party or something, In-N-Out shows up with that. So that's what that was. So anyway, I'm a huge fan of Morgan Freeman because when I was a kid, there was a show called The Electric Company, and it wasn't the utility thing. It was an educational program for children on PBS, and I grew up on PBS. A lot of the stuff I watched was on the Children's Television Workshop. But I really enjoyed, especially when I got a little bit older, The Electric Company. It had little plots, little stories, little episodes within the actual show. And one of them was Morgan Freeman, Easy Reader. Was a hip guy, had the glasses on, diddy bop shades there. And sometimes you'd see him kind of like jogging through the park, sometimes reading, sometimes going to a restaurant reading. He had a friend that worked at some store, looked like a restaurant or a grocery store. But I was a huge fan, and I still am to this day, but I've known him visually since I was like tiny, little kid, so he's been around like my whole life. He's old now, but Easy Reader was the way I was introduced to him. Cool character. Then there was another one. I don't know if it was actually Easy Reader, but he was like a DJ on The Electric Company. Like the style. I always liked Morgan Freeman's style. But that show, a lot of famous people were on that. It was a lot of famous people. Jane, there was a character with Jane. She was like with the gorilla. I think his name was Paul. Oh no, not Jane. Jennifer. Sorry. Thinking Jane, but it was Jennifer. Jennifer was like a female Tarzan, and she had a gorilla, and she would teach you how to read. And then Crank, he was like an edgy guy, and then they had The Adventures of Superman, and plus my favorite, I love The Adventures of Letterman, narrated by Joan Rivers, and that Gene Wilder did the voice of Letterman, the spellbinder. Letterman had to find him, change the word from tube to tub. That was a good little, the whole thing. I enjoyed. Like even now, if I'm on YouTube or something and I see something with The Electric Company, I'll watch it. The opening, Hey You Guys, that Scream. But I used to watch all that stuff. Sesame Street, Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, Electric Company, a show called Zoom. Wonder whatever happened to those kids on Zoom. They were all, 7th, 8th graders. I don't know. So they were young and chubby, frubby, dubby wubby. If you wanted to learn how to talk like that, you would send them a self-addressed stamped envelope to Zoom, box 231, Boston, Mass. 02131. 02131 was the zip. They would say send it to Zoom, and then they would say you want to learn how to say how to talk in chubby, frubby, dubby wubby. And I was like, I want to learn that, but I never sent the damn thing in. And then they had it was like a big sheet of paper. A guy would draw something out. It was like a joke. Zoom, 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 zoom. The thing is with that was kind of like the last thing before PBS would go off the air. They would show you that, and then I remember at nighttime trying to find something on Channel 2, and it was off the air. But it was a cool, I mean, in today's world, kids would probably not appreciate it, but in my time, anybody my age back then was watching that stuff. There's a few shows. Some of them I can't even identify because I don't know what they were. Like, there was one where it was like a chubby guy with a beard and a bunch of kids, and they would go fishing, and he would show them how to cook things and all that. I'd watch that. And of course, Maggie Letvin. Man, was I a fan of that show. I loved watching Maggie with the exercising and stuff. I actually was corresponding with her in recent years. I had gotten her account there, email, whatever, and I would send, and she would respond to me. And I told her I was a huge fan of that show. That's the show that taught me the words inhale, exhale. I didn't know what that was before. I was watching it. I was like, what's she talking about? And then I saw the people doing that, and I go, oh, that inhale, exhale, like Miyagi. But Miyagi didn't exist back then. So I would watch her doing a little aerobic stuff. And cool lady. Last I checked, she was alive, but I haven't checked in a while, so I'm going to check now. Let's see. Well, according to Wikipedia, it appears that she's still alive, which every so often I check, and I'm very happy when I see that, but it also could be that Wikipedia has not updated. I don't know. But yeah, on my channel here on YouTube, you can find videos that I've made. I made one many years ago looking for her. This was way before I discovered that she was, on Facebook there. And I said, whatever happened to Maggie? I didn't know if she was still around or not. And her granddaughter, I'm telling you granddaughter because that's what she said in the message she sent me. She said that she's her granddaughter, and she was going to tell Maggie that I had made a video. And then a week or so after that, I noticed that somebody or her granddaughter, had posted a bunch of old videos from that show. The Maggie, the what's it called? The workout machine or whatever it was called. So it was me who made the video, though, looking for her. And then after that, they had a channel with a bunch of those videos. So if you look up Maggie Letvin, you'll find her. And even now, when I hear the name Maggie, I don't think of Rod Stewart. I think of Maggie Letvin. Yeah, I was one of the, I don't know anybody else who watched that show at my age. One time I asked her, I go, those people that you had on the show that, they were like training with you, working out with you, who were they? And she said they were people from MIT. Some group at MIT. She would call them over, and I guess she had a little studio somewhere. I don't know where that was. Maybe the remote facilities of WGBH. Maybe there. So, according to this, still alive. Born March 15th, 1927. I don't know if anything else has anything here. There's another site. Does this say anything? So, no. Yeah, I'm thinking she's still around. 97. I always wanted to meet her, say hello, I watch a show, but I never, you know, like, bumped into her at Sears or someplace like that, see Maggie shopping. I would have talked to her. I would have been like, and then the other one I wanted to meet when I was a kid, Julia Child, which I would also watch. Whoo! She had that voice. I don't know what kind of voice that is, but let me see if I can get a good. Yeah, it's funny. Life is funny. You see somebody, and there's a picture of me here talking about Maggie on YouTube. You can find it easily if you search. But it's funny. You look at somebody, and they're young, and then all of a sudden, a little time goes by, they're old. You get older a lot quicker than I expected. You know, I remember when I was a kid, I thought it took forever to get old. But no. It's going to be hard to see, but this is what she looked like back then. I don't know if there's a glare or something, but that was her. And I remember the rooms were multicolored. They had stripes on the walls. Anyway, that's it for now. I'm going to do some dishes, and I may be back later. You never know. You never know. Ciao for now.